Hello friends, today we are going to tell you such a terrible story. This high-profile case shook the entire America. This terrible crime was investigated for many years and a secret came to light that no one could believe that this person could do this. The investigation took almost 6 years to solve the mystery, and in the trial the investigator openly but said that he had never encountered anything like this in his many years of practice. A love triangle and double betrayal and a bad omen that no one noticed before found a place in this tragic story. Jason was born in 1974, he grew up in an ordinary family, after graduating from high school became a student at the prestigious state university in the capital of his native city of Raleigh, and after graduation he received a degree in salesman job at a large retail chain at work IIRC. Jason Young proved himself to be a valuable and promising employee, but his friends talked about him as a person who was windy and flirtatious with the opposite sex. In relationships he was fickle and often changed women, for which he gained a reputation as a feminist, which she herself was even proud. Michelle Murray, the young maiden named Fisher, was born in New York in February of 1975. The girl was brought up along with her younger brother Meredith, with whom they were very close since childhood, with her mother Linda spending a lot of time with her beloved daughter. Since her school years, Michelle was fond of law and economics and dreamed of connecting her life with this activity. After graduating from school she applied to several universities at once and soon she was transferred to the capital of the North. Got positive answer. After the Carolina girl received a diploma at the Faculty of Economics and Law, while receiving a master's degree in this field, Michelle was appointed to a high position in one of the leading accounting firms of the state. Yesterday the schoolgirl was earning well, completely herself, and making big plans for the future. She celebrates her 24th birthday with her friends and co-workers at the most popular hotel in town, where he meets Jason Young. Michelle sat down at the same table as them and started a casual conversation, joked a lot, tried to be funny and interesting, and at the end of the evening asked her out on a date. Michelle also liked casual introductions, so she decided to. He willingly accepted his invitation, saying that it was fate itself that gave him a gift on his birthday. The couple began chatting and soon realized they had a lot in common. They both attended the same university, although Jason had received his degree 3 years earlier and supported the same hockey team, and we are fans of the same music group among young people. A romantic relationship began, but there was little living together. Getting married was out of the question. At the time of the beginning of his relationship with Michelle Jason he was still living at his parents' house, and being a brave man he would only visit his girlfriend and held rallies on weekends or met him during work trips to the state capital. During one of these meetings his beloved told him that she was pregnant. This news was a real shock to both of them as neither of them were ready for the birth of a child yet. There were no plans to have a family yet, Jason said so immediately, but after some hesitation, Michelle decided that she would not get an abortion and would keep the child. Jason took about a month to think about it, after which he announced his pregnancy. After a few more months the couple officially legalized their relationship, although it was not love or pregnancy that contributed to this, but Michelle's lack of health insurance. The couple had to spend a huge amount for the birth of a child, but marriage gave them an opportunity to avoid such expenses. The young couple's daughter is born in 2004 and is named Cassidy Elizabeth. The newly married mother gets busy in domestic life and family work. Michelle's family coolly accepted her chosen one, but they were wary of Jason. But in the same year the young couple tried to avoid conflicts and moved in with a child in their large house located in a quiet and beautiful area of the city. Gone, Mother Linda, who came to visit her daughter and granddaughter and help around the house, was the first to notice that there was a certain tense atmosphere in this family. The son-in-law was so emotional and irritable that he could not arrange any. The scandal is literally in one place, but Michelle tried every way to hush up all the fuss and behave like the happiest wife and mother in public only Mother Linda could honestly say. When Cassidy was about 2 years old, Michelle became pregnant again. She broke the news to her husband with great hesitation, but he reacted calmly and even seemed happy about it. Soon the family traveled by car to tell Jason's parents the good news in person. They came to visit only for the weekend, and on the first day they celebrated the arrival with relatives and dropped off their young daughter the next day. The couple went to a restaurant together to celebrate the event. accompanied by their grandparents for a few hours. As the couple were driving home, Jason, who was driving, took an oversteer turn and the car went off the road and into a ravine. The couple were left with a few scratches and bruises, but their lives were not in danger, although the panic caused Michelle to miscarry. Jason took it this way: waking up peacefully, the accident, the loss of a child and some strange indifference of the spouse, it all seemed very suspicious. Linda Fisher later described the accident as a bad omen. The young couple had a mutual friend named Michelle Money whom they knew from their days at the same university. For some time they did not see each other, but in the spring of 2006, shortly before the accident, Jason met an old acquaintance during a work trip. He told his wife about it and together he decided to invite the Money to meet the young man. The woman willingly accepted the invitation, but during her visit she began to complain about her unhappy family life and the problems she had in her relationship with her husband, plus she constantly praised Jason and told his wife how much she loved him. Lucky that she was pregnant, Michelle was in no way concerned by such behavior from the guest. She sincerely wanted to console and support her friend, but Young took what was happening as a call to action. Jason Young never missed an opportunity to flirt at first, but the relationship soon grew beyond flirting and friendly support. Jason Young and Michelle Money began calling each other almost daily and having a beginning to sneak off to meet others. Jason always justified his absences with business trips and his wife did not. In the summer of 2006, Michelle told her husband that she was pregnant again. But this time Jason was not at all happy. The wife did not understand what was happening. She felt that her beloved was leaving her. Had gone away, but she believed this was due to a miscarriage she had suffered a few months earlier. At this time, Jason himself was thinking deeply about how to escape the marital bondage, at least for himself. In early November, when Michelle was 5 months pregnant, her husband had another business trip. They went in their car traveling nearly 300 miles from home, but having booked a hotel room about halfway through the trip, that evening pregnant Michelle has a long conversation on the phone with her best friend. Then she goes upstairs to the room and puts her daughter on the bed, and herself falls asleep next to her. Jason reached the hotel around 10 in the evening and went straight to bed, claiming to be tired from the road. In fact, he was checking the location of all entrances and security cameras and was planning to leave the hotel and then return without being detected. As Jason was preparing an alibi for what he thought would be the perfect crime in the morning, Young called his wife's sister to ask for help. He said he wanted to give his wife a piece of jewelry for their anniversary, but he accidentally sent a page from an online store to the home fax machine, worried that Michelle would see his gift and get a surprise. Although Meredith disliked her son-in-law, she agreed to help him. When Meredith arrived at her sister's house, she entered the garage through a secret door that only family members knew about and was always open. The house was suspiciously quiet, although the landlady's papers, keys and purse were in the hallway, indicating that she had not gone anywhere. When she went upstairs, Meredith noticed that the bedroom door was open, but neither her sister nor his wife answered her calls. When she entered the room, she saw the horrifying sight. Michelle lying with a fractured skull on the floor near her bed, covered in her own blood. There was blood everywhere on the walls. The baby's bloody footprints were visible next to the furniture and the body. Unfortunately, no one could help the pregnant woman. She had been dead for several hours. Her sister ran to call the emergency services, when suddenly she heard a rustling under the bed and saw little Cassidy there, lying in a place she couldn't understand. Cassidy wasn't hurt, but she was scared. The girl witnessed her mother's death and spent several hours afterward near her body, as evidenced by marks on the floor, as well as toys she brought for her mother, later discovered by forensic experts on the body of the deceased. A large number of bruises, scratches and fractures were found, in which there was talk of walking together and beating brutally. Mitchell's teeth were broken and his skull was broken with a blunt, heavy object. The instrument of the crime was never found. A blood-stained pillow was lying near the body and traces showed that the victim had been pressed to it. Nothing was stolen from the house, which means that the night guest had only one goal: murder. Furthermore, the locks had not been broken and there was no sign of forced entry, which may suggest that the culprit had the key or knew about the secret door, which again was known only to family members. The prime suspect in such cases is always the spouse of the deceased. But he had the perfect alibi. He claimed he checked into his hotel room and didn't leave until the morning and then went to a scheduled business meeting. The check confirmed that Young had checked in the evening before and left in the morning. Had to use my room key card to get out. But a detailed investigation soon revealed many oddities and inconsistencies. For example, a hotel employee discovered early in the morning that the emergency exit was not only open, but also lined with cobblestones to prevent the door from closing. When the investigation decided to check the surveillance camera installed at that door to find out who had done it, it was discovered that the same camera had been intentionally disabled on the night of the crime, except when checked in by Young. It stopped recording after about half an hour. The strangeness in his room didn't end there. It turned out that during the night there was a man who looked like Jason. He was finding the gas station between the hotel and the crime scene, but during the night he had to provide identification as per the rules. He refused to do so through cash and immediately walked out of the gas station without waiting for the money to be changed. During interrogation the man was identified as Jason Young, but the man continued to deny everything and insisted he said that he had slept in his hotel room during the night. Another oddity was that the day before the tragedy the young man had telephoned Michelle Money more than 24 times, and towards dawn he had telephoned his mistress 5 more times, each conversation lasting no more than 15 seconds, leading to it turned out that Jason was probably nervous and all of these calls were made outside the hotel where he and his were talking all night long. He was also late for a scheduled business meeting with his partners and somewhat confused. Seemed to, although none of this evidence individually, or all of them taken together, proved that Young had actually murdered his pregnant wife. Years of investigation and nearly 3 years of long-awaited verdict brought Jason that life. Live what he always lived. Also he gained custody of his young daughter, which was a serious blow to his deceased wife's relatives, by which time he had ceased to hide his relationship with Money, which once the murdered woman was friends with Mitchell, leading to suspicions that she had committed this brutal crime at such a young age. Jason was only arrested in late 2009, but despite the large amount of evidence to prove his guilt the jury was unable to reach a consensus, although the case was reopened in 2012 when more evidence appeared. Collected and testified by witnesses who had seen Jason Young out that night at various locations in the hotel. A particularly distinctive white car was seen at an undisclosed location a short distance from his own home on the night of the murder. The case also included the testimony of a child psychologist who told about the strange doll of little Cassidy. During the game the girl showed how her father beats her mother and then she would not get up from the floor. Manny took the stand as a witness in court. He confessed that Jason had cheated on his wife, but justified it by saying that he was very unhappy in his family life, as he told everyone and the defendant. Another former mistress admitted that she was afraid of his outbursts of anger when he lost control. And good hitter. After a long trial Jason Young was finally found guilty of brutally attacking his pregnant wife. For this crime he was sent to prison for life with no right to ever be released. Convicted in 2014, Jason filed his first appeal but in 2018 it was denied. He again asked for review of his case but a panel of the State Court of Appeals again denied, leaving Cassidy virtually orphaned. Her mother was murdered and her father was murdered. The girl, who went to jail for this crime, is being brought up by her aunt and maternal grandfather.